Thank you everyone for getting on live. I can't see who that is. I've actually realized I'm far away, so if you're getting on live, hey baby. Hi prima, ¿qué tal mi amor? Hey Newsday Speech, thank you all for getting on. So this is Jorge Ochoa. He's an occupational therapist and he just finished a drum session with us. I'm so sorry, I can't see everyone's names because I'm too far away, but thank you for getting on. So we just did a family drum session. If you were with us on Facebook, you saw a lot of the drum session with my whole family. As you all know, my whole family has different diagnoses of ADHD, dyslexia, inattentive, hyperactive. We've got the whole gamut. So I found Jorge through an occupational therapist that I found online in Florida, and she introduced me to Jorge, who's here in San Antonio.
In the same zip code.
Same zip code.
Right.
We live so close. We're like less than 10 minutes away.
Less than 10 minutes away, exactly.
So I'm just so excited that you could do this session with us. We had so much fun playing drums, and of course, you know, our family in Puerto Rico who's on right now, you know how much drumming is like part of the culture, so it was really, really fun, but also therapeutic. So I wanted to interview Jorge about what he does for families, for kids in his job, and what he does to help people. So this interview is about ADHD, autism, and all the different mental health conditions you can treat with occupational therapy and drumming. So, could you first tell us, Jorge, just a little bit about yourself and about why you became an occupational therapist?
Okay. So I actually, so the background with drumming is that I actually was a drummer before I was an occupational therapist.
So you're a percussionist first. Awesome.
Right. So I actually started in a high school marching band. Long time ago. So yeah, I played the big bass drum. So
the
hot sun.
Well,
yeah.
Here in San Antonio?
No. It's when I lived up north in New Jersey.
Oh, that's right.
So, but it was still hot.
Yeah,
so,
it's hot in the summer.
Yeah. So I started playing in the marching band, the bass drum, and I actually did not start playing the drum set until I was out of high school. Really, and I bought my parents bought me a drum set.
Wow.
And so I started playing the drums there. Cool. And so that was from like 19, I played drums for a while. And so I actually did not become an occupational therapist until 2001. Okay. Now, I decided everything that has happened to me regarding occupational therapy and what I do was never plan.
It was never your plan. Okay.
Never my plan. Occupational therapy, never my plan. Doing this, never my plan. I had no idea. As a matter of fact, I was speaking to a friend the other day, and my only plan at the age of 19, 20 was to be a rock and roll drummer.
Oh, so we got C, and you saw how he leads us. He knows how to lead.
I was just talking to a friend of mine the other day, and that was my obsession was drumming, drum set, and being a rock drummer. So that was all I cared about. So basically, so I became an occupational therapist in 2001. The whole reason why I got into the field was actually, again, background story. I used to be a surgical technologist. I used to work in the operating room with the surgeons. I did that for like 7 to 8 years. But I wanted to, there was only so much I could, so far I could go in that field.
Right.
So I wanted to go back to school and get a degree. So I actually got one of those books that talked about different careers to get into and so forth. Started looking through it, and then I found OT. I found OT, and I said, well, there. And then I started reading how OT can help somebody who, let's say, they have a stroke. They can help people get dressed again, or help people in that way. And I thought, that sounds like a cool field. Let me go into that.
That's amazing.
So that's how I pursued my degree in that. And so it's funny because when I got out of school in 2000, I did not want to work with kids. I didn't want anything to do with kids. I was terrified of kids. Because
you would never think that if you watched this session.
I didn't want to work with kids. I thought I was going to work with adults. But at the time, the only job I could get that provided insurance, and all that other thing, was a job in a school-based setting.
Okay.
So that I took that in 2001, and basically since 2001 to now, I've only worked with kids. Yes, yeah.
And he's so good. You all saw the earlier thing. He's so good.
So if you put me in like a hospital setting or something to work with adults, I would have to like learn all over again. Different things, So yeah, so that's how I became that's how I transitioned to this. Now, now as an OT. Now the drumming, it came into, I would say, around 2006, 2007, somewhere around
Okay,
there.
so a couple years you were occupational therapist and then you started to see how it could help, right?
Right. Well, I actually found this by accident on the internet. Yeah. I was looking up drumming on the web, and not any of this, just drumming. Because we're all over the drum, right? So then I came across the world of hand drumming, drum circles, and community engagement, and I was like, that looks cool. I like it because people can get together that may not have any previous musical experience, and then people can just have a good time. They can connect, they can de-stress, and just have fun. And at the time, I did not want to be in a band, but I still wanted to do something where I could be with people, play with people.
Right, play together.
Because I like it, because just watching you and watching your boys and watching your family play, that's also enjoying from, I enjoy that.
Right, it's mutually beneficial,
yes,
right?
Exactly, so I like being with people and seeing them play and seeing the joy that they have and everything, that helps me out too. So then, I found out online, and I said, this is too cool. This is extremely cool. And I hadn't really been a hand drummer yet. I wasn't into hand drumming. I was mostly drum set. So then I went to my special ed director at the time, and I asked her. So on the internet, I found a program called the Rhythmic Arts Project, which is specifically geared for those that have special needs. Okay, and so then I found it and I said, this is cool. It came with a DVD, the curriculum, the drums, and everything.
Awesome.
I went to my special ed director at the time and asked her if she would buy me the program, and she did. And she bought me 10 drums, and I got the book and everything that came with it.
So you could actually do
so then I learned to do it by going to the special ed classrooms every week, and I would put the drums in my cart and go to different classrooms and start
learning. So you were traveling around the different classrooms?
I was traveling, which is what I did as an occupational therapist anyway.
Right. You always travel around. You came to our house to get therapy here. Yeah.
Right. So I and then that was around. So that was between 2007 and 2008. Okay.
Right.
So then and in December of 2008 is when I officially started Tambo Rhythms.
Okay.
I officially started.
So follow him, guys. Tambo Rhythms. Tambo, like tambor for the drum, but there's only one R, right?
Right. Yeah.
Tambo Rhythms.
Right. And it's the group, Tambo Rhythms group. It's not the page.
Okay.
So
on Facebook, it's the group.
Yeah.
And on Instagram, it's the handle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So then, so I'll have to say, so I've been an occupational therapist for 20 years.
20 years.
Okay. So, and I'll have to say that as an OT, this has been the most functional thing that I have done, that I have seen has worked the most.
Right, and that's what he's going to tell us a couple,
yes,
just examples of how you're helping kids.
Yeah, some examples that I either saw or was told to me, because especially when parents or loved ones come back and tell me, that means so much more to me than what I may just what the child is doing right then and there. Even though it's great that they're doing it right then and there, but when a parent can say, this is what so and so is doing at home, and then come back and share this with me, I'm like, wow, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So some success stories that I have regarding kids with special needs is that there was one classroom I went to in the district that I'm in right now, and I went and I drummed with the kids, and so at the end of the session, one of the students came up and he hugged me, and I was like, oh, that's cool, I was like, all right, cool, that's nice. And then the teacher was in shock, and she looked at me and she was like, George, and I go, what? And she goes, you don't know what just happened, and I said, what? And she said, okay, number one, this young man had autism, number one, and he doesn't really like men. He was standoffish towards men, and he came and he initiated the hug.
Wow, that's amazing.
And that was huge.
That's such a cool connection. Look how you made that, like the music, right? Like
it broke down whatever barrier was there between us.
That's amazing.
It made him comfortable enough that when he initiated social interaction, and we know that that's one of the things that kids with autism, one of the things that they struggle with.
Right, the social connection,
social
exactly.
connection.
Right.
So that was a huge,
That's
that was
amazing.
huge. So,
Oh, wow.
and then I remember also there's a young man who, when I was doing one of my classes, because I over here at the Northside ISD Adults and Community Education Center.
Okay.
Okay. He was older. He was 17 years old with autism, and his brother used to bring him every week for my 6-week class.
Okay.
Okay. So at the end of the 6 weeks, I try to ask the family or loved ones, how do you think the drumming has helped your loved ones and so forth? So I try to get feedback, see how they feel about the class. Well, the brother told me that he felt that the drumming helps his brother with autism to be less socially awkward.
Oh yeah, so
Yeah.
there's another social benefit.
Yeah, another social benefit. So so that was cool. I mean, that's been with me for years,
Yeah.
It's just, and then there's one, she, again with autism, her family contacted me after we were done. She actually learned how to count and the names of the U.S. presidents by drumming.
Wow, so she was using the drum to sort of stimulate the remembering it? Like, wow.
Remembering the names of the U.S. presidents.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so
There's a lot of them.
Right. So I recently did some in-home drumming with 2 sweet families that both their sons had autism and ADHD.
Yeah.
They had both.
Common, comorbid, or co-condition, co-occurring condition.
Yeah, had both. And so the mom, she communicated with me that the drumming did help her son when it comes to sitting down, attending to the session.
Attending to this, right.
And also taking turns.
Right.
Taking turns.
Right, and if you all saw, I think if you watched from Facebook, I don't know if they saw when he was picking up different instruments, and you had to really pay attention to know which instrument. Was it a shaker? Was it the drum? Was it, you had the cowbell, which told us what to do? So we really had to listen.
It's a lot of
focus.
So there's a lot of visual.
Right.
There's a lot of auditory.
Yep.
Sensory.
Right.
Yes, involvement there.
Right.
And the thing is with drumming is that drumming is probably there was a neurologist, Oliver Sacks. He said that drumming was like the music engages the entire brain.
Right.
Yeah. Now, musically activates the entire brain.
Wow. See, and that's where they show on those scans, you'll see certain parts of the brain is activated.
It just lights up.
So it actually lights up those spaces.
Yeah.
Maybe that you're making connections that you hadn't made or that had gone dark or
There's actually, if you go on my website at tabarhythms.com, I have a page that's called Boom Whackers. And boom markers, I don't know if you've ever heard of them before.
No, I haven't heard of boom markers.
Boom markers are tuned percussion tubes.
Okay.
And there was a study that was done. I have the abstract there that you can see. The abstract is from 2016, so it's not too long ago. Right. So basically what they did is that they took, I believe it was 5 and 6 year olds, it was 20 something of them, and they did musical training with them with the boom whackers for like 9 months, okay?
Wow.
And then what they saw was brain fiber growth and new neural connections and parts of the brain that are associated with ADHD and autism.
Wow.
Okay? And based on the way that it was done, it seems like there seems to be previous studies that have been done with autism and ADHD. There seems to be something going on with low connection or decreased connection in the frontal lobe.
Yes.
And the frontal lobe is responsible for managing behavior, impulse control. It helps with motor skills, and also with planning.
Right, the executive function, all that stuff.
Yeah, and of course, the brain is it's just so amazing. So also, it's connecting. It's just lighting up everything, and it's connecting. So I believe, we fully don't even really fully understand.
Fully understand.
Well, we're just doing the best, we're finding more and more out. So we see
we're learning more.
that there's something that's going on in the frontal, because what they found is that there was actual increased nerve cell fiber length.
Wow! Whoa! Okay, so the nerve cells are growing. They're
We found
making
that,
more.
yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, the way it seems like the axon of the nerve cell
That's amazing.
was so there was more connections being made.
That's unbelievable.
Yes. So
I'm going to link all this stuff,
if
you
you want
guys.
to, yes.
And you need to go to his website, but I'll link some stuff too in the notes for both of these, so you guys can look in the research, because the research part, the neuroscience, is so interesting to me.
And I'm always learning.
But you study that, so you have this like deep-rooted knowledge, plus you have the skill.
Yeah, because
so
I want to see
connection.
not just what we're doing, but I like to see, okay, also, what's going on.
Right, like what's the reaction?
What is the reaction? Because I'm seeing outwardly, I see, okay, so with the drumming, you're working on social emotional skills. So I'm really big on the social emotional aspect of drumming.
Oh yeah, the dysregulation. It happens in my house.
Yeah,
it happens in my house.
So with children, and one of the things I wanted to also make known is that whether you have special needs or not, it doesn't matter. This is therapeutic for everyone.
Right, and that's the mental health part too.
Right. It's therapeutic for everyone. Going back to my roots as an occupational therapist, so we are involved in our big thing is to help people get engaged in those activities that are meaningful to them.
Yes.
It's basically how people occupy their time, what they do. Okay, so that's your occupation.
Right.
I know that some people may hear that and say, "Oh, so you help people find a job?" No. So anything you do that occupies your time,
right.
That's meaningful.
Right.
So
I think that's so important, because some therapy, I know kids, especially talk therapy, I know like my son didn't love talk therapy.
Right.
He felt embarrassed.
Yeah.
Whereas something like this, you saw it, and this is my older son I'm talking about, he was drumming, he was engaged, and he had something to say afterwards about how he felt. Immediately, it's the fact that your whole job is based around making sure people like the therapy. It's an activity they want to do.
And it has to be meaningful for them, because I'll be the first one to say, I know that drumming and music is not for everybody. I get that.
But sometimes,
but for those that it is an excellent way for people of all ages to express themselves without using any words if they don't want to.
Right, and that's the other thing. And that's the other thing I love, like with autism, like some of the nonverbal. If you have a patient who can't, a client that isn't verbal, then they can communicate this way. I mean, that's amazing.
Right. So that's
amazing. Also, there's so many disabilities like dysnomia and stuff where you can't recall words, or you get anxiety about speaking in front of other people. And this way, it's just the drum.
I have anxiety about speaking with other people.
Yeah. You couldn't tell.
No. Because I stutter, and that's terrifying for me. So doing this is I got used to it.
Yeah, you had to conquer that.
If I wanted to do drumming in the way I wanted to do it, I had to overcome it, and I still do. But the thing is that this is such a passion for me that I had to learn to deal with it and in some ways overcome it.
Right.
With it. But
and do you feel like the drumming helped you overcome it too, or just you feel like you knew you wanted to do this?
The more and more I got comfortable being around people, the more and more I put myself in a position where I had to lead and help.
You have to be a leader.
Then that helped me to deal with that more. And of course, drumming, I guess we can go into like the mental aspects.
Yeah, sure. Let me just double check. Are there any questions? I just want to make sure there's no questions from anybody.
Okay.
My dad was on. He says hi. Okay. And then, hey everybody, thank you all for getting on. I'm just double checking if anyone has a comment. Yeah, the mid braid, of course. Thank you, New Day Speech. The mid brain too. Awesome. Thank you, Sam, for getting on.